Brian. In recording.
How was your bike ride?
It was great.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. Wasn't as long as I had planned for it to be, but still good.
Yeah.
I like this new one, roll call, Kaiser,
Isn't that cool?
potato, sourdough. Roll call.
All different kinds of rolls.
Alrighty, I'd like to call to order the City of Lacey Planning Commission meeting of September 12th. Roll call of members. Daphne,
Daphne's here.
Dave is here. Gail's here.
Eddie's here.
We have Kieran.
Hello.
Anybody else online?
That's all I see at this point.
Alrighty, and that makes a quorum.
It does.
So we are moving on to a motion to approve the agenda. And the consent agenda items, which include the agenda and the approval of the August 15th, 2023 meeting minutes. And the August 1st, or no, August 15th, okay, good.
So moved. Second.
And do we need to say who moved and seconded nowadays?
Yes. Daphne Retzloff. Moved. I second it, Gail.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Also in attendance, it's that Kathy,
Judith.
Judith, okay, sorry.
Judith.
Hi.
Welcome aboard. Public comment? Is there anybody in the audience?
We don't have anybody here at City Hall other than Planning Commission and staff. I don't see anybody in the attendees on the Zoom, but just in case, this is your opportunity to address the Planning Commission, provide any public comments. So if you want to do that, you can use the raise hand function of the webinar, and we'll go ahead and bring you in. Going once, going twice. I don't see that we have any public comment tonight.
Okay, Commissioner reports, Daphne?
Nothing.
Nothing from me.
Nothing for me.
Nothing for me.
Kieran?
Nothing to report.
Okay, Judith?
No, not tonight.
All right. Department report, none? Is that correct?
Well, it says none, but I have a little report. So, Grant is gone for the month, the rest of the month, on vacation in Spain. So thought it'd be a good opportunity to update you on the Maple Court, to kind of give you some of the latest information there. And I think everybody's aware that since the last time we met, last couple of weeks, the encampment that's at Slater Canyon Road has been fully closed. So those that were there identified for housing have been placed in Maple Court, and then those that were not placed in housing have been removed from the site. So at this point, there's no more residents of our encampment there at
All the
Slater.
stonework was happening.
Yeah. So lots of boulders and those kinds of things to keep people from coming back are being put in place, and those things are still being finalized at this point, but that looks like that's going to be kind of one of the final solutions to keep people from relocating there. So at this point, we have, as of today, we met with Maple Court. They said they have 115 residents. Still 15 rooms available. So there still will be some future residents. They're doing some work to some of the rooms to make them more accessible. They've had some water leak damage issues, so they're fixing those up. They'll have 5 more rooms available next week. In addition to that, the City of Olympia is opening up the Franz Anderson Tiny Shelter Village that's off Franz Anderson Road, kind of off Lily Road. That's 50 units of tiny shelters. The majority of those will be filled by people from the Wheeler encampment. So that's kind of the next big phase, and the next big initiative will be to tackle the encampment on Wheeler Road along the WashDOT right away there on Wheeler. So that's kind of where we stand now. It seems like we're Maple Court is, according to our police department, it's very good neighbors. We're not getting, really no complaints. Especially, looking back at when it was a hotel and some of the issues that were going on in the last few days of the hotel, we were getting some significant issues with that. It seems like, anymore it's relatively quiet, and we continue to monitor that, including the next steps for us is also to monitor the success of the facility, keeping track of how many people are coming in, how many people are leaving, and where they're going. And we actually talked to the case manager coordinator today. There will be 3 total case managers at Maple Court, which is a relatively low number for the high number of residents. So they'll have a high number of clients for each case manager. But one of the things they're working on right now is, and one of the themes that seems to be occurring is that not a lot of people have like identification or birth certificates. So that's one of the initial steps, is to work with the residents there to make sure they have ID, birth certificates, and those kinds of things, and then they are then eligible for more programs and those kinds of things as a result of having that information.
And I'll just stick with the tiny village theme again. The one that is on the exit into downtown Olympia, it's right, you see it as you exit off of I-5. Is that occupied at all? Or is
I think that one's called City Center, I believe.
that would make sense?
Give me 1 second. It's kind of not on the top of my mind.
Don't have to.
But I'm not sure but they're all being, they're all kind of in one.
Various states are being put together.
Correct. And in fact, we also just recently received a notice of additional funding availability for Thurston County for fiscal year 24 funding for more right-of-way initiatives. So coming up into next year, there's
That's from the state.
the state through the Department of Commerce. So the state is putting even more money into these initiatives throughout the Puget Sound region, and then over in Spokane County as well.
What about boulders? That seems like a really expensive landscaping option. I think it'll work, but do you have any idea on that?
I don't know.
Those come cheaply.
Is there any history? Has anybody done anything crazy like rolled the boulder down into I-5?
We talked about that.
They are
yeah.
really hard to move.
Yeah, they're pretty
I
heavy.
know, but if you got it moving,
I'm going to assume that those are being
Somebody
placed
talked
with that knowledge, and hopefully that, they're not,
super gluing down.
they're not,
You can
maybe they're
see
being embedded into the ground, or, nice and flat on those sides, so they're hard to roll over. I do know that they are being, they have been tagged with spray paint, some of them, and so they're, addressing some of those things. That seems to be, I haven't heard of any rolling down the hill at this point. That seems to be tagging has been the issue so far.
Okay, it's not so bad. Okay, any else for,
The other thing I wanted to touch base with was our calendar, but I'll just wait till our communication and announcements at the end of the meeting,
Right.
kind of our future schedule.
okay, we have no public hearing this evening. And so we're gonna move on to new business preparation for the Joint Planning Commission public hearing on September 27th. I'm going to supersede Hans for just a minute and just briefly explain, so we don't spend a lot of time on this, hopefully. In 2016, a plan was approved. All the plans get approved by the different municipalities. We did ours in 2016. It's been in place. We've been using all the rules based on that. Those were never, they're slowly approved by the county. Ours is the last one that hadn't reached the approval state and needs to go to public hearing. But we are at the reason it's important that it happens really fast is that
Do the next.
we're starting the next one. And so this is technically a formality to move us forward. Obviously, we've been using it for 7 years. There's some necessary changes that need to occur, but those will be addressed in the next version of this plan. So that's the quick comment I wanted to make. And then our expert can answer any questions.
Yeah, so I'm mostly here just to answer any questions that may be out there that folks are looking to explore. We did put together a slide deck that really just has a example motion. If the planning commission wants to move forward, really the recommendation being is that there already is a September 27th public hearing scheduled. That has been scheduled by Thurston County's Planning Commission. And really, the potential motion that we have here in front of you guys is to, based on how that motion was created by the Thurston County Planning Commission, they wanted a verbal kind of recommendation from the Lacey Planning Commission as well. So that's really why we're kind of here today, is to potentially accomplish that. But really, it's just to make it a joint public hearing, both with Lacey's Planning Commission and Thurston County's, instead of solely Thurston County's as it currently is at this point in time. So I did draw this up. Happy to answer any questions that may be out there. But yeah.
So what I'd like to do is entertain this being put into a motion, and then we can open it up for any questions now. So I'm looking for a motion. And if you just want to even read it, that's probably the best way to.
Daphne Retzloff, move to recommend a joint planning commission public hearing on September 27, 2023 for the Lacey Joint Plan.
Second.
Okay, Matt, open for discussion. If anybody has any questions or comments, or I can jump back in and whatever we need to do.
So I just wanted to clarify a little bit. So, unfortunately, I wasn't at the meeting. My understanding was that because Thurston County's Planning Commission had a quorum and they made a motion to set this public hearing, then this is kind of little more than just a formality on our end to make essentially an adjacent motion, if you will, or a confirming motion, confirming to holding the public hearing coming up on the 27th with the Thurston County Planning Commission. And just for awareness, like Lacey procedurally is a little different than Thurston County. Thurston County, when something is presented to the Thurston County Planning Commission, they make a motion to start the wheels in motion to hold that public hearing. Our procedures are that we don't need to do that. And the reason being is a public hearing is required anyways.
Mhm.
So it doesn't necessarily require the planning commission to set a public hearing date and make a motion to do, or approve a motion to do so. So for example, when something such as this, like let's say a long range plan of some sort comes to the planning commission and you all have reviewed it, you've taken, you've held work sessions and maybe you've taken some public feedback in a meeting standpoint in a meeting format, those kinds of things, you kind of all head nod, yeah, I think we're ready to go to a public hearing on this. And that's all we need really, is just like, or, we say, hey, we'll schedule this for a public hearing in next month, and you guys go, oh, okay, great. So it really is a little bit different in terms of just the mechanisms. Because Thurston County is leading this process, it's best to follow kind of their lead and say, okay, yes, if their planning commission requires a motion or approval of a motion to hold a public hearing, we'll do the same thing. But typically in the course of doing business, our planning commission does not approve a motion to get that public hearing process started.
Thank you for that explanation.
Yeah, so happy to answer any questions on that, but that's kind of my understanding of what occurred and why we're needing to do this tonight.
So are they going to be in charge of public outreach to notify them? So are we doing anything as a city concurrently with that, or Thurston County's got that handled?
What we would do, certainly we would do, the typical Facebook notice, that kind of stuff. For a large plan like this, that we are not reaching out, like, for example, there's not a requirement that we reach out to people within 300 feet of a site or something like that. But we'll, through the course of our normal public engagement, type
Just say it's happening.
avenues, yes, we will give our residents. But really, this is really focused on the Lacey urban growth area, if you think about it. So it's, this is kind of the county's jurisdiction. We'll help get the word out, but it's it's the county that's really leading
We're
that.
not gonna have Paul Revere running down.
There wasn't a list from 2016 of people who were interested in this issue.
Well, there probably is, but it's probably out of date at this point. So, you know, Hans has slides if anybody wants to go over any of the elements of the comp plan. If, you know, I'd welcome if you had a chance or haven't had the chance, the actual meeting, if you weren't in attendance, the meeting is on YouTube, on the Thurston County YouTube channel. It is a long meeting, so, you know, you may want to break it down into manageable chunks. But, you know, it is available if anybody wants to go back.
The meeting that didn't get anywhere.
Correct.
Well,
Well,
it did.
Well, it did.
They agreed to a public hearing. So, yeah, so will they lead the conversation? So Hans, it seemed like at that meeting, you know, it was their agenda, their flow, their process, and we're just, if we had something to contribute, but otherwise we were kind of more just there, so to speak. And is it gonna probably follow along those lines as well? They'll manage anybody coming to speak, they'll manage the time, they'll do all that, right?
Procedurally, they will be taking lead.
Okay.
Our role is really to provide additional perspectives, participate in conversations, be involved in that decision-making process.
Okay.
But ultimately, it's their recommendation that we're looking for.
To
move
adopt
forward.
the plan
Keep-
as
Yeah, keep in mind, from their side, this is done over, it's already it's at the end. So they're just going through a formality in
Yeah.
a sense too, at this point. But they will have, it's a public hearing, so they will have comments being made that probably have absolutely no bearing on what they're really, I mean, they're not gonna change it's not gonna change anything. But it's an opportunity for the public to talk, to put something in their ear about what they didn't maybe like about it for the next time
yeah, when we do it.
the process. And it gives us an opportunity and also to listen to those things. So it does have some merit.
yeah, and there are some rezones that are happening. I think you might have been briefed on some of the zoning changes. Yeah, so there might be some comments on some of the rezoning.
So is it appropriate at some point if we get called upon to say, you know, we really appreciate the comments, we'll listen and take all those into consideration as we move forward with the next plan.
Right.
Thank you very much.
That, and then also our comprehensive plan is being updated in 2025. So one of the discussion items that happened as part of that meeting is recognizing that a lot of the things that are brought up for discussion really are better suited for the comprehensive plan, either the city of Lacey or Thurston counties in that sense, and that the joint plan itself is really just honestly catching up to 2016 documents and updates that we've already implemented within the city that we're just hoping to get implemented in the urban growth area.
And with the 2025 plan, it will be more collaborative as far as what's included with the county. That's the intent,
And-
correct?
Well, yeah, and in our defense, in the original 2016 plan, we were quite collaborative with the county staff then as
Oh, I
well.
was not implying anything
Yeah,
other than that,
it's
but-
just we've had generations of county staff that have come and gone since that point. So nobody's around anymore that we were, you know, working hand in glove with.
Collaborating with.
Yeah, at
And
that point.
and if you're not aware, there'll be a whole new county manager.
Oh, yeah, right.
So under this new, with potentially, well,
An
at
agenda.
some point, 5 commissioners, so there'll be some kind of. I don't know what the future looks like for.
Yeah,
Thurston
it'll be
County
different.
when it comes to that. It'll be
But getting
different.
back to,
But those commissioners are gonna feel like they're having input for
Yeah.
the 2025 plan, which
Right.
would seem to be a little bit of a rub. And so they'll feel like they're having input in what is included and, you know, how it's written and.
right.
so.
Right. Part of, you know, the difficulty in this one is that basically, you know, Thurston County is operating off a 2003 plan. We're trying to get them to adopt the 2016 while we're also still working towards the 2025. You know, so we're almost trying to catch up 22 years of time in that there, you know, there wasn't these things haven't been adopted by Thurston County, so.
Okay, so we're gonna call for the question. Everybody remember the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Hi.
Did you just get the vote?
Judy?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously passed.
we have a quorum.
Okay, old business. By the way, Hans, thank you. And I didn't mean to steal all your thunder.
You really did mean to, but.
I was trying to move us on.
Well, I appreciate you all making this meeting today. to
I
make
figure
this
we
happen.
owe you like 2 hours back. Yeah, that long meeting. No old business, communications, Ryan?
Yep, so I'd like to go over with you our calendar that we have at least through kind of the beginning of October. So next meeting is actually coming up here in 2 days. On Thursday is the bus tour with the city council. So we'll host dinner in the council chambers here at Lacey City Hall at 4:30. The bus leaves at 5:30. It should be an hour and a half, give or take tour, maybe 2 hours. So you can imagine it'll probably be done about 7:30. Please attend. I believe I sent you all kind of a slideshow of things that we'll be looking at. So maybe
Different
good.
buses.
Separate buses, oh, different buses,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's attractive.
It may be worthwhile in familiarizing yourself with the projects.
Thank you. Yeah, oh, lovely.
The next regular meeting is scheduled for actually a week from tonight, September 19th. I'm inclined to cancel that meeting. We don't really have anything scheduled for the agenda, plus with the bus tour, you meet tonight, bus tour Thursday, plus the next meeting, which I'm going to talk about at the end of September with the hearing. We have a busy schedule anyway, so I'm seeing nods that it'd probably be a good idea to cancel the next meeting. So what I'll do is I will cancel the next meeting on September 19th and I'll follow up tomorrow with this calendar so you guys can kind of visualize what it looks like. And then September 27th will be the public hearing with the Thurston County Planning Commission on the joint plan over at the Atrium Building again. So that's September 27th, which is 2 weeks from tomorrow. So it's a Wednesday.
Bring snacks.
I believe a 6:30 start on that.
It said 7 on the slide, I think, didn't it?
On at 7?
7.
7 o'clock. Okay, 7 o'clock start on that. I'll make sure that's reflected in the updated calendar that I send you all. Give me 1 second. And then moving into October, we'll be back into our regular flow again. So first meeting in October is October 3rd. We already have a couple items lined up for that. So again, getting back to that first and third Tuesdays of the month. And it just kind of dawned on me too. I know I'm not sure if the planning commission is aware of yet or not, but the city council is actually starting to discuss potentially moving their meeting dates, which if they did, they would most likely be moving it to Tuesdays, which would mean that the planning commission might have to move dates. So don't know exactly when or where. We'll, discuss that with you when the time is right. But I just wanted to make the planning commission aware that the city council is looking at changing their meeting dates. And if they do, they're kind of the senior organization. They kind of supersede the planning commission's decision on meeting nights. So we'll have to look at holding it on maybe a different day of the week.
Well, there's Monday.
Why are
for
they,
them, and there's
do they have a conflict or something?
Thursday for them.
So they're the only ones in the region.
Don't
that
you start
meet.
with, we can't have the room on Tuesdays because someone else has it?
They're the only council in the region that meets on Thursday nights. And so my understanding is a lot of their cohorts that are maybe on the Olympia Council or the Tumwater Council, they tend to have events that happen Thursday night, like community events that they're not able to attend because they're at council meetings. So the council is looking at making it Tuesday, which I think is consistent with the other councils. So that's kind of council night in Thurston County.
Okay,
I think that about does it for me.
all right.
Can I ask one quick question that if this was covered when I wasn't here, I apologize, but is there any update on the vacancy on the commission?
At this point, I believe that the vacancies will be filled at the beginning of the year.
They're gonna wait for mine to open and they're gonna do at the same time.
Yeah,
We have struggled.
Will it make it better, having more openings at the
That's
same
what
time?
That's what Ryan told me. I don't know.
it'll,
I asked that question and I accepted the answer.
yeah, it'll make it a little less, just logistically, it makes it a little easier
It's
to,
really hard to like I've done it a couple times. It's really difficult to get everybody together to try to, everybody's got busy schedules. So I think, is it easier? I just think it probably ends up being easier.
If it's easier for city staff, that's good.
Yeah.
So,
we're also probably here in the next week, give or take, going to be advertising for the community development director position as well. So
Oh.
since Rick moved to city manager, and we've had a vacancy there, community development director, and so that job will be, I think, should be hitting the streets here in the next week or two. So that's a crucial vacancy for us. Well, so when you said vacancy, all of a sudden I thought Rick's position, but yeah,
Yeah.
planning commission, right?
And how are we doing on the? Oh, I don't know what it's called.
Looks like.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did the interview too for interviewing for it, but
That's what I'm referring to.
the business person.
Oh, the economic development.
Okay,
The community and economic
okay.
development. Yeah,
That's the same.
that's the position.
Oh.
Yep. So Dave met separately with our consultant that's helping us fill that position, our headhunter, to talk about that in more detail.
That's a
So,
long title.
yeah.
All right. Anything else? Our next meeting is not September 19th of 2023. Remember, and it is
September 27th.
at what time?
14th.
Oh, don't forget the bus tour on Thursday,
Yeah, we got
Thursday,
bus,
bus
which is technically a meeting, but our next,
special visit to Panama. Panama.
Panama?
Panama.
Are you
I am going to
coming-
Panama.
Are you coming to Panorama?
so so we'll meet again on Thursday for the bus tour. Our next regular meeting will actually be over at the county
Atrium
offices
building.
on the 27th.
And yeah, I kind of joked about it, but you might want to bring a little snack, like crackers or something, just because I have a feeling maybe it could be a little longer meeting than we are anticipating.
It's a later start than we're used to too.
Yeah,
Don't you think they'll have more public comment or something?
I think there could be a little more public comment.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Hard to tell.
Yeah,
You may or you may not.
I would not assume it to be a short meeting.
and
just,
I
you
don't
know,
know,
Expect the
who's
worst.
all gonna be there from the city of Lacey?
Staff wise?
Yeah.
It'll be Hans and myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
You're gonna make Hans go, yeah, I think you should just do it yourself. Don't make Hans go through that again.
Hans has scars.
The fun part is that I got to do it round two the night afterward for the council.
Oh,
That's right.
County commissioners, so.
Yeah, the joint meeting of
So
the.
if you are looking for a summary version of it, there is a slightly shorter version, on the Thurston County
It's a lot shorter.
website as well, so that is also out there if you want the cliff notes or.
Okay, well, thank you all. If there's no other business, we are adjourned.
Night.
Thank you.
Can be better.